Okay, if you have an ENFP in your life and you want to help them get stuff done, like jobs or any tasks, I want to show you something that happens. So if you give them a list, you're like, here, do all these things, and it has like these bullet points or these check boxes, or like maybe there's 4 or 5 or 6 things on the list. Here's what happens, okay? I'm going to show you. Let me turn this around. Okay, so here's your list. This is just like, you know, your little jobs, right? So these are like points of reference. Maybe this is like mop the floor, and this is like clean the bathroom, or clean up outside, clean your room or something, right? So this is what happens in an ENFP's brain, and this might also be something that ADHD people might connect to, but this is what happens with each single point. It goes out and it makes all these new thoughts and ideas, okay? It's like it scatters into like multiple, like it multiplies. Anytime you give an ENFP one idea, they're going to multiply it, okay? So their brain, okay? It goes from 4 jobs to 25 new ideas that like this becomes overwhelming. And now, like, in order, you know, you tell them like, here's your list. When you're done with your list, you're going to be able to go play with your friend or play your video game or whatever you want to do. No, okay? Because they're going to go right here very quickly, because their brain rapidly multiplies every single idea out into 50, and it's so overwhelming, they're probably going to run away and want to escape, okay? They're going to be like, see ya. So this is how to get, so what you need to do instead of handing them a list of here's all the things I want you to do is tell them to focus on one thing at a time. Boop. Be like, okay, do this one thing. Make sure it's focus on this one thing till it's all the way done. This is probably, I'm seeing this being maybe more effective for adults, but try it with a child who has this tendency or this personality, any hero, so an ENTP, an ENFP. Focus on one thing. This is one job. Like maybe it's clean the toilets or clean the sinks in the bathrooms. So they just focus on that one thing, and you bring it all the way over to completion. Yay, we completed that one thing, okay? And so then we have a new one thing. We go to the next one thing, okay? And we just focus on that one thing, that's it. And that is all you fill their brain with, or you tell them to focus on that one thing. And you know, maybe at the end of each checkbox, we're going to congratulate them, give them some kind of something positive, like good job. Maybe you say, how do you feel about doing that? Maybe you give them a hug or a little M&M or a candy or something, just something that's like a positive, like good job. And you really fill their mind with the memory of achievement, of finishing the thing, because ENFPs and ENTPs are starter types with NE heroes. That's extrovert intuition, and their brain is always going to do this. Okay, so the more that you help them get into their subconscious by showing them they have memories of accomplishing things, and you really bring that into their brain, they're going to identify with that more and the feeling of accomplishing something. So one thing at a time, you go from one point to an end point. Actually, I did this poorly. There should be a checkbox right here. So yeah, so one point to another point to another point. At some point, you're going to ask them, how do you feel? Do you feel like going on? Do you feel like you need a break? This is how you go from overwhelm with jobs to actually accomplishing things. Just focus on one thing. Okay, get them to focus on one thing. And, you know, especially for a child, you're going to try to make them feel really good, because ENFPs, they want to feel good. You know, you want them to do, you know, this is their NEFI. So they want to feel good here. And this is just like, you know, oh, all these possibilities, yay. So you want them to like think of all the possible ways they could feel good. That's like how you want this. You want this to actually do this, even though this is actually like a pessimistic function. their apparent FI function is a pessimistic function. So it's going to like tend to, we'll just put P for pessimistic. So you want them to actually like feel good, but the way you make them feel good is by giving them these memories of accomplishment, because that actually strengthens their SI inferior, which is their fourth function, and helps them lean into their subconscious ISTJ, which is actually a neat, clean freak. Okay, so they have a side of their mind that is a neat, clean freak, that is the ISTJ, and to help them lean into their subconscious, you need to get them to do this process here, not this process. This is how, NE works. And when you notice they don't do things, it's because they're having negative feelings. They're having like, sadness, anger. That doesn't look very good. Let's try this again. They're having like anger. They're having frustration. And when they have negative feelings, it's not motivating to them. They just get stuck in this like, oh, everybody makes me feel bad. And then they think of all the possibilities of how everyone makes them feel bad. And then that just keeps going right like that. And then suddenly their SI has all these memories. This is an introverted sensing or memory function. Okay, their SI is in the very back of their mind. And suddenly their SI function is going to be like, everybody is mean, okay? That's supposed to be a face, which really didn't work out. Okay, they're like, everybody makes me mad. And they have all these memories that are like, this is why everyone sucks. So you want to help them build SI positive things by just making everything way more simple, by helping them lean into their subconscious ISTJ, and making them feel good by asking them how they feel. Always ask them how they feel, and don't tell them their feelings are wrong ever. Just be like, how do you feel right now? And they'll say, I feel sad, I feel happy, I feel whatever. Ask them how they feel, and just be like, okay, interesting, or whatever. Don't grab onto that or anything. You just want them to be aware of their FI, because all of this happens in a less aware place usually. And like all of this is just going and going and going, when they have a negative spiral, this gets created, and especially the other thing that I'm not saying is like their TE function, which is their child function. It wants to do things right. So one of the ways that these get built out is because their TE function thinks that they can't do something good enough. Okay, so the child function needs some support. It's like a 10-year-old child. So the TE child will like inevitably create all of these like reasons why a job is hard and not doable, and that why they can't get something done. So to help that function, you need to teach them what to do, really, so that you can, again, help them bring one thing through to the finish line. And if you're having a hard time getting them to finish one thing, just keep bringing their mind back to this one little dot. Just focus on this one thing. That's all you got to do. If they're like, nah, they get distracted or whatever, just come back. Just focus on this one thing. All you have to do is, and then when they get that done, you're going to be like, woohoo, party, good job. And then again, you make them feel good. You feed their SI with a positive, like you did it. So one way you could accomplish that whole process is by having the jobs on little slips of paper in a jar, if you want to go with that. That might work for someone who just is younger, maybe, or just whatever, no judgment, do it works for you. But I would say I grew up with job lists being given to me every day of my childhood, pretty much. And it was always overwhelming. And it created a lot of SI of like, I can't do these things. This is too hard. It's too overwhelming. People don't give me support. And that's like all of the SI memory chunks that got created in my subconscious mind. And so when I grew up as an adult, it was like, made that much harder to just like do something simple, like wash a few dishes, sweep the floor, clean the bathrooms. But because I had a parent with an SJ way of doing things, you know, like giving someone a list of all the things she wanted done was what made sense to her, but she didn't think about my personality and what I needed. And so I'm just wanting to help people improve that for yourself or for your children. That is something you got to be aware of. Giving people tasks in a way that works for them. Hope that was helpful. If so, give me a like and subscribe.